pausing something there, but don't worry about it. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm going to put this on speaker mode. Perfect. So hi, everyone, and welcome to our wonderful freedom or building your freedom. I'm just going to move that. I think, yeah. Building your way to freedom this evening with so many wonderful speakers from around the world. It's going to be super, super awesome. And we're going to start off this evening. Just let me add a few more people to our Zoom as they're coming in. I'm just going to bring up, hello. I'm just going to bring up one of our, so sorry, let me just see who is coming up first. Yeah, I've just got to try and navigate. Where am I? Stop share. Sorry, I've got a whole lot of things going on, so I've just got to navigate properly. Here we go. Super. So we're going to start with wonderful Mark Abrams. He's the biggest music events organizer in the country. This young man is dynamic. He's disciplined and very goal-driven. Starting out at a very young age, he already had the insight to do things very differently to those around him. So I have pre-recorded the session with him as he's not able to be live with us this evening. So here we go. That's coming up for our summit, working your way to freedom. And the essence, as I said in the beginning, is really around, I think, the highs, the lows, because there's many, and I'm sure Mark is going to share that with us. So Mark Abrams, all the way from Dubai. Sorry, is everyone seeing my screen? Because I think it's paused on my side. So super duper. So Mark is, as I said, the first speaker that's coming up for our summit, working your way to freedom. And the essence, as I said in the beginning, is really around, I think, the highs, the lows, because there's many, and I'm sure Mark is going to share that with us. So Mark Abrams, all the way from Dubai, living the life. We're even having to record because he's going to be, he's been invited to an incredible, is it boxing match or something to that effect?
Yes, some big fighting match taking place in Abu Dhabi that are picking up the cues.
Fantastic. So yet again, networking, meeting new people around the world. So Mark, how did your journey start with entrepreneurship? How did you decide, being one of the, can I say, biggest event organizers? Sorry, I'm just going to stop this because I see it's actually not playing. It's not actually showing. So sorry. I'm just going to do this again and just see if it's actually coming up on our screen. Yeah, I see it's coming up now. Let's just see. In the music industry for South Africa, can I give you that accolade?
Yes, most certainly. I've been around for about 22 years now, and my journey, if I want to be transparent and kick off where I actually started, my journey started quite at a very, very young age. At the age of 13, I got my first job. At the age of 16, I had 3 jobs. At the age of 18, I realized that working for a boss is something I could never do and something I never support. And I went into studying. I realized that studying, I just believed it was a waste of time completely. Not something that I appreciated, because if I looked at the people teaching me, they definitely were not where I want to be in life. I mean, some had like really, really old cars and they never were successful, but they were educational and more of teaching you how to get a job. And because of those aspects and understanding, I've really been working for like 5 years. I'm like, man, this is not going to work for me. Studying is not my thing. And then I was my first event. At the age of 18, I remember quite clearly, I lost everything that I had. I saved up for 5 years. I lost everything in one night. I thought, man, this events game is really tough. I need to get a job. Let me try one more time. I hosted another event. I lost all my friends' money. I borrowed money and I thought, okay, let me try, put this together and host something and try it. I lost everything. And I thought, man, I really don't want to get a job. It's just not for me. Let me give this one more try. Age of 18, just before I turned 19, I hit my first luck, so to say. I got 1,200 people inside a club. I realized, wow, there is an opportunity. I paid my debts, firstly. And then I started hosting shows every second month. And I was the only 18-year-old in South Africa getting 3,000 to 3,500 people into every single nightclub. And this is because of a few decisions that I made. And I think this is very important that, it's something I need to get across, especially in this discussion, that even at a young age, I started to realize that there are certain things that's important to me and certain things that aren't important to me. Number one, hanging out with people where there's no financial gain or education or something I cut at the age of 18 or 19 already, because it's just chilling with people, having a beer, for example, talking about sports is not something that's going to enrich my life in the future and not something I'm going to make money from. Unless I'm gambling on sports and betting on sports, different scenario. I then started venturing into business, took a substantial amount of hidings. When I say substantial, I mean everything. I've lost everything. I've made everything year after year. I jumped into, at the age of 20, 21, I started another chatting application. Was meant to rival Mixit at the time. There we go, if you can remember it. That was an epic, monstrous fail. I lost everything from all my events. And then I continued along my journey and I started getting into property and events still. And because I was doing events, I thought I needed to do something else. But everything else that I did between the ages of 20 and 30 failed. And I say fail with so much enthusiasm because the word fail is probably the best education I've ever had. Because through my fails, I've learned and I've overcome challenges, I've overcome financial issues, I've overcome a substantial amount of things that most people are often challenged with and they can't get over. But because I was young, I had time. And when I failed, I learned. And when I learned, I grew. And when I grew, that's where I expanded. I also, between the ages of 20 and 30, I'm going to tell you something that's really absolutely bizarre. No one believes it, but I never ever took a holiday. I mean, even this weekend that you're taking off this weekend now, is more than what I've taken off in my entire 20 to 30s. I worked every single day. I lived the life I wanted it because I was a party organizer. I literally partied whenever I wanted, but even when I did party, I worked every single day. And as a result of my work, it allowed me to adapt a particular mindset that allowed me to not appreciate things that most people appreciate. And when I say appreciate things, I mean, for example, I would choose rather to sit and do work than to go out with the boys and have a beer. You know, the only type of social gatherings I'd ever do, and what I still do up till today, and I'm 40 years old, is I will only get together with people I can either network, number one, to enrich myself, because network is extremely important. And if there's no one I can network, I'm not going to grow my net worth. Number one is either I can either network with you, I'm either going to make money off you, you're going to make money off me, or we're going to learn together. If one of those four things is not met in any criteria of me meeting with someone, the meeting won't happen. Absolutely, categorically. I don't care who you are, what you
You know what, Mark, I want to stop you there and have a little chat about that, because many people are going to say, OMG, check out that ego. Okay, how dare he assume that, you know, he doesn't want to spend time with other people and socialize. But in essence, if you are so goal driven and so dynamic, your time is wasted. And you can use that time way better dealing with or socializing with people, as you've just said. So many will look at that as being a negative. But I think if you are understanding where you want to be with your financial situation, time is of the essence. You don't have hours and hours and time and days and months or whatever to just socialize in a social setting, which is not going to make you money in that respect. So you know, many will look at it as a negative, but I certainly look at that as a positive. You and I've had a discussion around that, and we've both said, you know what, if it isn't going to work for us, we're just not going to do it. It just is what it is.
Absolutely, that is. I mean, more importantly, it's not about me not wanting to spend time with someone else. It's more as of me not wanting to waste the next person's time. Yeah. So instead of spending time with a group of people where I'm not going to be educating them, they're not going to be educating me, we're not going to have any financial gain between the conversation, I don't feel I need to waste that people's time. And this is my motto in life. If I feel I'm going to waste your time, I don't think there's any reason for us to even communicate. But if I do see a benefit or I'm going to bring value to you, then man, you can have all my time for sure. Because at the end of the day, the network is a net worth, and this is how we get strong, not only on a financial level, but also as an individual level, knowing that you can rely on certain people for certain things other than just chilling and having a beer, which isn't really my thing, as I've mentioned. So yeah, that is where I am. I also, you know, through the eventing business, I got quite deep into property in Dubai, and I started my journey in Dubai about 6-7 years. I failed hopelessly 6-7 years ago. Like, I came up, I think I was here too soon. I literally lost everything again, like for the 10th time. And recently in COVID 2020, I came up and I took a small investment, got involved with property. Since 2020, I must have flipped about 3 or 4 properties. I own about another two or three at the moment, fairly high values. And why I say it's high is because when you convert the dirham currency to the South African currency, it is quite a substantially high value, but I could not have done it if I didn't take the risk. And I took the risk purely on credit. I came up here in 2020, I bought my first property, but I swiped my credit cards left, right, and center. And, you know, it was COVID, it was tough for every single person. And literally, I think everyone was challenged. And as a result, I took a risk. And I started buying property and flipping the properties within a certain amount of time. And this is where I am at the moment. In terms of festivals that I'm busy, I'm in the process of launching my first festival in Dubai on the 17th of December. It's going to be something, yeah, it's going to be something super spectacular. I'm still struggling, I'm still trying. I don't believe, you know, I'm a guru in events. I just believe I really work hard. There's nothing special about me to every next person other than I will outwork the next person. I will work up to 18 hours every single day for 7 days straight. And this is where I feel is the only added incentive or bonus that I have as an individual over most people, is that I really love to work. It's crazy. I'm obsessive about the work that I do. Even if I'm working on projects that I know is going to fail or it's not going to get somewhere else, it doesn't mean I'm going to be reluctant to work. I'm still going to work in the most optimal and suboptimal conditions, you know, regardless of whatever the outcome may be. So yeah, I would always, you know, if I could recommend anything to anyone else, think of where your future is going to be and think about the future you in 5 years' time. And why I say that is because I adopted this mindset, I think, at the age of 25 or 30, where I want to get a particular goal, and where I am now is nowhere where I want to be. But I know in 5 years' time, I could possibly thank me for doing the things I'm doing today. So like, I know I'm thanking myself for decisions I made in 2020, decisions I made in 2018. And because of that, I continue through with my life, and I try and do things that can only benefit myself, my family, and whatever else I feel most important to me in a few years' time.
So when we look at the wonderful youth of today, we're looking at that instant gratification characteristic. It's like, I want it now. I don't want to work too hard. I want to do as little as possible, but I want to work, you know, earn millions. So for those wonderful individuals that are probably going to be watching on my platform, what, because we've touched on a few things, but what would you share with them? Because I see that you are obviously a youngster that thought very differently about life right from the word go. I don't think, if I look at my son at 15 and all his little buddies, they are going nowhere fast. They are jolling, they are enjoying life, they are, I mean, at 15, you don't really know where you're going. But I think the mindset of the younger generation is, and unfortunately, I think the work ethic has disappeared for them. They don't realize that you have to work really hard. It doesn't fall in your lap. So what could you share with our younger generation as to building their wonderful businesses and financial freedom in the future? What would you share with them?
Firstly, I just want to tap on my background. I come from a very, I wouldn't say fortunate or unfortunate position. My parents were extremely poor. They both had jobs. I was surrounded by people that I never wanted to be like. And that's my family, my parents, older friends. They all had jobs. They were all struggling. And I saw this as an opportunity for me to educate myself. And at the age of 13, when I got my first paycheck, which was 150 Rand for working a full weekend, I started to realize that, man, listen, there is definitely opportunity for every single person. If I start now at this age, I'm probably going to be somewhere in 5 years' time. So let me just keep on doing what I'm doing to get where I want to be. And that resulted in me opening up my own company at the age of 18, and that same business is still registered, to be honest. For the youngsters out there, compared to what I was faced with, I think youngsters at the moment has the biggest opportunity ever since civilization has been around in terms of making money. This entire thing of social media and being online is probably the greatest gift that has ever come, you know, to humanity ever, because there's so many opportunities. People can make money just by being an influencer and talking about any random thing, and this is how they can make money. But the question is, are they passionate enough to do it? Have they got the drive to struggle and go through all the challenges that they're going to go through? Only they will know how far they can push their own envelope and their own desires. I would definitely recommend to every single youngster out there, look at your life right now, see what car you have or what car you don't have, and see what car you want, and see that as your first goal. You know, by the time you get the money to buy your first car, your first luxury car, don't buy it. Keep the money and rather invest it into financially gaining instruments. It can either be stocks, bonds, crypto, actual investments, as opposed to spending money on cars. But for me, when I was young, that was the first thing I looked at. You know, in my room, I had like Ferraris all around, and this was kind of like my passion. I want to get a nice car. My parents are not going to give it to me. They don't even have a nice car. What am I going to do? And that's when I started working really hard to get this nice car. And I never even got the nice car because I lost all my money doing events. And this is how I learned as the years goes by. And I'm in a position where I can afford whatever car I want, to be quite honest. But I'm not really prepared to do that because I believe that I want to, you know, say thank you to myself in 5 years' time. And I'm not going to say thank you by buying a lavish car up until I reach a particular level that I want to be at. And it's going to be applied to every single person out there.
Agreed, really agreed, Mark. That's amazing information. And also, I know that you're an avid fitness fanatic. And I think that's very much part of keeping you in this game, because you need to be looking after your health for you to sustain this kind of work ethic. If you are working like you are, you need to be healthy, you need to be looking after yourself. So you do something very interesting. Tell us a little bit about that, because I think your dedication to business is as much in your fitness as what you put into your business.
Yes, so I was into bodybuilding between the ages of 20 and 30. And then at the age of 30, I got very comfortable with myself. And picked up quite a bit of weight, which I was happy with because it didn't make a difference to me. And then about 3 years ago, I said, man, listen, this is not working out for me. I'm 96 kilos. I'm looking like, to be quite blunt, I'm looking like shit. I can't get the hottest girl that I want. Man, I need to change. Then I got the hottest girl that I wanted. And then eventually I changed over the period. I dropped from 96 down the way to 76 kilos over a period of 6 to 12 months. And, you know, besides wanting the best for my body, it started to make me realize that through fitness, I've unlocked so many levels of achievement in my own business life. In fact, I thought at the age of 40, I thought that is when I'm going to start chilling with business, I'm going to start working less. But it's actually the adverse. At the age of 40, I turned 40 this year. And because of my fitness, I've just become a little personal demon to myself where I really work with relentless consistency even more than before. And fitness plays such a valuable role in that because it teaches you about consistency and being disciplined. Because as much as I don't want to train every single day, I have to if I want to look a particular way or I want to have a particular physique. And that same type of mindset gets applied to my events and festivals and businesses that I do, is that, you know, I have to be disciplined to get where I want to be. And without the discipline, things kind of falls apart. And definitely fitness has helped me with that. For the youngsters, if there's a sport that you do, continue doing it, never stop. It's really something you should do. Keep your sports at your social time, whatever keeps you going. But this mindset and this adherence to be particularly available whenever you need to be available for your sports teams or for whoever really adds a lot of value into what you need to be as an individual and for yourself and your own personal goals. You know, if you don't understand from a young person, you could struggle. I struggled. And yeah, you just need to make a sudden change within yourself, and whether it's fitness, business, or just engineering your own mindset to earning more and gaining more, this is a decision you need to make because everything is there. Especially, you know, like I said, we live in a day and age where everything is on your cell phone. You know, if there's a particular product or a particular service you want to know more about, go onto YouTube and type it in there. Someone's going to teach you. Someone out there is willing to educate you.
Absolutely.
You know, it's the same with network marketing. If you want to be able to expand your reach and to be able to generate an extra income through reliable resources and individuals, go online and find something that works for you, or get in touch with a particular group of people that can educate you on something and how you can grow your own personal self and your own value. And this is where I think everyone needs to be considered to look at. Not saying they have to, but it's what I've done and where I've gotten to where I want to. I can't say where I want to be because where I want to be is really scares me.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it really does scare me, but I love that. And I love the chase, and I love strange things. I love failure because failure I learn. But sometimes you also want to stop learning.
Yeah, you get to the point where you're sick and tired of scraping your knees. But you know what also I want to say, Mark, is I think exercise is very important when you are building big business like you are building and being an entrepreneur, because you work such long hours, you need to shut off. And I think exercise is a really good place for you to zone into a quiet place in your mind where you can switch off from all the, because I just look at myself, yesterday was quite an overwhelming day for me. I had a lot of meetings back to back, and you're spending a lot of time, you know, when you're talking to people, there's a lot of your own energy that you are sharing with people on an ongoing basis. And exercise is a way to clear your mind. It's a way to sweat it out. It's a way to get rid of a bit of frustration. And I'm very sure that in your industry, you are at most times frustrated when you see something in the horizon that looks like it's really going to happen, and then something just, you know, stops it from happening, and you're like, OMG, I'm going to get into that gym and I'm going to just pump iron today, you know. So I think it's
yesterday.
well, there we go. So I think, you know what, you know, this is very, very apt. And I think, you know, another thing I want to share with people today, and I think you're going to agree with me, Mark, is there's lots of highs and lots of lows. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. But to be honest, without the lows, you're never going to be able to appreciate your highs. With me, I needed to go through my lows. As much as at the time I hated every moment of it because I never knew what the outcome was going to be. Every single low and every single failure has taught me to be better the next day. And as a result, it really guides me into the future and guides me how to conduct myself and how I need to deal with particular challenges that comes through.
Agree. You know what? I always say, Mark, that the universe tests us all the time. You know, when you are at your low, are you going to dust your knees off, put your big girl panties on and say, right, I'm going to stick it out and I'm going to continue? Or are you going to be the one that falters and says, you know what, I've had 100 no's, that's about it for me, I'm out of here. And I think that
one no, that becomes a yes.
Yeah, so I think that filters out those with the tenacity, with the consistency, with the discipline, because an entrepreneurship, either way, you know, doing what you're doing or building network marketing, it requires a massive amount of tenacity. I mean, you flow with the knocks, you know, or should I say you go with the knocks, so, or the punches. So you've got to be able to suck it up. And you know, my upline always says you're allowed out of the industry for one day and then you come back again. You're allowed one day, you know, so you cry, you do your thing, you swear and do whatever, you know, get it off your chest and you go on safely. And that is it. That's, I think, what puts us out there as humans that are building their own individual businesses to big financial freedom, is that they take huge knocks, but they have huge highs as well, and they celebrate both. Just like you said, I don't look negatively at my failures because you can't. That's how you learn. And every single failure puts you one step ahead of yourself, that you'll never do that again. You only do it once anyway. But it looks like
sometimes you do it twice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do it twice, maybe even 3 or 4 times, me especially.
But you never do it the same way. But you never do it the same way, Mark. I mean, if you look back on all the events that you did, you learned from the one before and you changed it slightly. Even if it was a failure, there was definitely some improvement in the one before. Otherwise, you would never have made it in the end. So that's very important.
I've started adopting the attitude that it's not that I fail or that my projects fail. I just figured out ways that it doesn't work. You know, so I have to see on particular angles to kind of identify my challenges. And then, you know, with this mindset that I've adopted, that if a failure comes, I don't even care at the moment the result of my events, because the discipline needs to be there. Whether I know the event's going to do well, or whether I know it's going to do poor, or whether I know I'm not going to raise enough sponsorship, it's not going to be enough bar revenue, whatever the case may be, the discipline needs to be applied. I mean, the sufficient amount of discipline applies along your journey, you're going to unlock automatically things that you never expected. And as long as you're consistent, disciplined, and you know where you need to be in life, or your goals, whether it's short-term, long-term, medium-term, immediate, not immediate, remaining disciplined is so very important. Only you yourself will know what the discipline means. No one else can tell you. You will know what you need to do, 100%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I wanted to thank you so much, all the way from Dubai, like we said. We hopped on so that he could enjoy your weekend, because I'm sure it's going to be super awesome all the way in Abu Dhabi. And thanks so much, Mark, once again for sharing your knowledge and your experience with us.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
So that was an awesome start to our Freedom Summit. I love Mark's work ethic. He's an incredibly disciplined and incredible person. So the next wonderful person, and for those of you that are hopping on, my name is Mandy from Mark, and I am from Future Wellness. And today, well, should I say tonight, it's really all about being totally authentic. And these are incredible people who have built big businesses around the world, who are sharing really the highs, the lows, and their experiences, and what they really found helped them and maybe didn't help them whilst growing their businesses. A lot of them are also building as a couple, which is very interesting. So we'll be hearing all of that as they're coming through. So I'm going to have Chris. Chris is actually my upline, wonderful upline all the way in Poland. Hopefully he is, I did see him on, so he's going to come. Hello, how are you?
Very well. How are you guys?
Good, Chris. So this is the kindest soul I know. Chris and I have come a very long way. And my success is owed to him in keeping me in this industry long enough to see the value. So if it wasn't for Chris, and Chris has had me on the phone when I've been in tears, and I've said to him, I'm not doing this anymore and I'm giving up. And he would just say, Mandy, just calm down. And, you know, this is this industry, though. Chris and I have often said it's a very emotional industry. And it is what it is. So let's start off, Chris, with your lows, because we do have highs and we do have lows.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for invitation. Hello, guys. Very good speech. Mark was incredible. Well, as you said, and I always repeat that our industry is simple, but it's not easy. First of all, what I found at the very beginning, I didn't know what MLM is 10 years ago. It was my first MLM. Actually, we bought the products and I didn't know what the MLM is, what the animal it is. And my first lessons were that this is something that I need to take off my ego and everything I know, because I was smart. I've read lots of books. I have master's degree from economy. I'm engineer, and I was very smart. But then 10 years ago, the world, the universe showed me that I'm not so smart, because my results are, let's say, not smart. I was broken. I was not healthy. I had bad relations with my family. I realized that I need to work with my ego. So it's sometimes really good to find out, and I found for myself that I need to learn something. I need to be open. I need to be coachable. So I found a great teacher, Eric Worre, and I start just learning. I start from the scratch, and it was really difficult when you don't have money for your mortgage, but you can build your vision and you can rely on yourself. Because he told me once, actually he was quoting Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn said, to things to get better, you need to be better. To things to change, you need to change. And then I realized that everything depends on me. Of course, some people in such situations start to drink alcohol, doing worse things, just, you know, the auto-destructive things. I found out the strength. In the situation that I was really down, I found the strength. And then the MLM industry is an amazing, beautiful vehicle to learn and to, you know, to get new skills and to start from the scratch, because you can do this from zero. And sometimes they say from zero to hero. So, and of course, ego was the first fight, let's say. But then I found Eric Worre, amazing teacher, and he said, don't worry plan your 10 years journey with this business, because I rebuilt my organization 7 times in 3 years. So I realized that you mentioned about the ups and downs, and I knew what to expect, that there will be ups and there will be downs. So I start to learn more. And this is key for me, to be coachable and to be open, really.
So you and I love the leadership side of this industry. How do you share your skills to those in your team? Because it's so important. I think so many of us need, and I know that you've always shared this with me, you need to visualize where you're going in this industry. This is very important. This is why today or tonight's summit is so important, because we build our businesses towards freedom. This is where most of the speakers are. They are living a life not just financially free, but the freedom to do the things they want, when they want, and how they want to do it. I think that's really the essence sometimes of this industry. So how do you find yourself sharing your leadership skills to your team and that vision?
Great question. First of all, I realized that this is my responsibility, 100% responsibility, what I will do in this industry. If there is a professional way, I need to find a way, and I need to become, I call it a magnet for people, because people follow leaders, let's say. So I need to become one. That's what Andrew teaching us. To find a leader, you need to become one. And this is the first thing, how to become someone. So first of all, you need to have some results. There is no way to become leader without results. You need to work your way. You need to find, and the MLM is beautiful because it's very simple business. So I started to open venues. I started to find people to help them, because our industry is to help others. And I realized that I need to go to the top of my company. So the best way is find someone who did it. And for example, the next speaker, Phil, is with us. He was at the top, and then David Jumper. So what I can recommend you, find someone who did what you want to achieve, and then make friends with this person, build a relationship, ask questions, because it will be really shortcut. So if they are leaders, I need to know what kind of people are they. And then I was working on myself and showing more and more. I was studying even how to become a speaker, because I'm introverted. I was a shy person. And at the beginning, it was really difficult. Believe me, guys, it was very difficult. I was stressed. I couldn't even speak. But, you know, the story of Julia, our daughter, was so powerful that I decided to share with the world, no matter how, and no matter what I need to do. So to become a leader, follow someone who is a leader and do the same. Of course, I said at the beginning that we need to be coachable. Yes, because you will learn that maybe not this way. Maybe you are better on social media. So become the best of the best in social media. If not, try to become someone who is a good speaker, or who is consistent, persistent, and every day is helping 1, 2, 3 people every day, but every day. And as we said at the beginning, we need to have a goal. What does it mean to be a leader? Make a description of a leader. I will give you amazing example. I was, it was 2019. I was on my way back home from one conference. We had a chat with Phil, and I realized that to find a next business partner, I need to describe in details who is this person. And I sat at home and did the description. Exactly who is it, the age, how it looks like even. So in 2 weeks, this person appeared. So it's so important to have your vision and your goals written. really in the detail, as detailed as you can. It's really important. So if you want to share your skills, your leadership with others, become the real leader, and follow leaders, follow those people who achieve it.
Brilliant. So you've also come from a corporate background in which you worked for many years. What are your views on working in the corporate environment as opposed to network marketing industry? Because I love this, because there's so many of us who we look at this industry and we've got so many people that come and say, oh, you're doing that thing. And I think more so than ever before, I think in the past, people can still refer to it as that thing, but I think network marketing has changed from the dinosaur that it was, I always say that, to a completely new animal. It is very much business orientated. I think we've evolved network marketing into, because of social media, because of these wonderful platforms like Zoom, we no longer need to sell to the neighbor and our family and drive them insane. We are able to spread our wings, expand our businesses to international waters where we can really find people who want to partner with us and want to grow with us. So what are your views on that?
First of all, never ever back to corporate. I spent there so many years, and you know, one regret, maybe not regret, just thought that I found it, meaning MLM, well, in 40s, let's say. If I could recommend you, if you're in 20s, 30s, and you find this way, just please spend some time to analyze it. And really analyze it, not based on your beliefs, what you believe and what you heard about it, but analyze what this industry, this business is. Because it's really freedom to have better choices. I spent so many years in corporate and I was exhausted. There was no way to, let's say, to earn more, to learn more even. There were always brackets on the earnings, brackets on the knowledge you need to have, and the corporate is more specialized, the people are specialized. Here I found something that I said, this industry is created for me. Really, I'm traveling, I can learn what I want to learn, I can read what I want to read, I can spend time with people that I choose to spend time with them. So we never knew before the MLM. Mandy, Phil, and other people. I have so many fantastic people surrounding me because of the industry. This is something that if you really analyze, you will say, no, this is not possible. And people are used to actually they train to be employee. And I remember my mom, when I quit the bank after 12 years, I was a banker. I had lots of money and, you know, the reputation, because I was a master's degree from economy. And my mom said, son, why you just left your bank? I said, Mom, I'm exhausted. I'm not evolving. I'm not growing. I need to change something. I was 40 something. And now I found a place that I can really live my life, and I can share this with the world. I can find people and help them do the same. If someone is open to live your life, to you know, make your dreams come true, to travel, to find fantastic people, to eat some food, to spend times with beautiful people, this is for you.
So Chris, you've just touched on it, but I want to ask you the question though. You had a few people who would give you very negative feedback, like your mum, when you started network marketing. And I want to know how their conversations have changed now, because you're at the top of your game, you're traveling. So have you had any feedback from people that have obviously watched you? Because many people, when we start network marketing businesses, often wait to see you fail, because they want to say, oh, I told you so. You shouldn't have done that thing. So how have people's views on what you've been doing over the last 10 years changed? Because you must have friends that have been watching you, family members that have been watching you, associates. How have you seen them change?
Well, this is a good one. Yes, I asked actually my mom a few months ago, and I remind her our talk at the very beginning. And my mom said, "Son, I didn't understand what you are going to do. I was so afraid because when I realized that elderly people in Poland, in Europe, are not so happy with what they have, what they achieve in the regular, let's say, regular job, and when they retired, I said, okay, I need to change it for myself. And some people sometimes say you are happy, you are lucky, let's say, because you achieve it. And some say, okay, I knew it. I knew it that you will do this. But actually, and there are some people that were waiting for my success. Then decide to, okay, tell me more. And this is normal situation in any industry, in every place. When you are successful, at the beginning, people will say, no, this is not for you, probably you will fail, and so on and so on. And I have something in my gut. I'm a sport guy as well. I have something in my gut that I want to prove myself and even others, prove that I will succeed. That's something that is driving me, that there are ways, if someone achieved these results, I can do the same. Well, this is really good to be an example and to show your results. And actually, this is something that you need to do if you want to build a big organization with and invite leaders to have the results and to show the results and show the real work behind it.
So, Chris, as I just said, sort of for me, if you were looking, because, yet again, this is, like Mark said, such an incredible industry for youngsters to get involved in. And I think, like he said, there is such an opportunity because of the social media platforms, because they're so connected to these social media platforms. As youngsters today, what do you have to offer them in looking at this industry as an industry to tap into and really build with?
Well, also very good question. The whole world is changing and changing rapidly. We have a sentence, if you do something and there are no results, or you can say, if horse died, dismount it. You cannot sit and try to race that horse. You need to find something new. And there are so many opportunities. You see, the gig economy. The gig economy is about so many people looking for additional income, for additional job. People who are delivering food after job. They have a regular job, and after job, they are working as a deliverers, the people who deliver food. The gig economy grew absolutely amazing last years, and our industry during the pandemic thrived. We know that. We all know that so many businesses collapsed, so many people lost their job. We are growing. We are growing, and people become more open for it, because you can sit at home, like here, we are sitting in different places. You are in South Africa, Phil is probably in Switzerland, or maybe Nice, and people, the Mark was from Dubai. I have groups, as I said, South Africa, Dubai, in States, in Taiwan, across the Europe. This is really beautiful that we can help people using the new technology, but everything is changing. So be open for the changes and try to be more elastic and listen those who really gain something, let's say, and they have some proofs, then rather than someone who knows better and achieve nothing.
Absolutely. Well, as usual, you are full of wonderful, wonderful information. Thank you so much for coming to share your experience with us. And thanks very much, Chris. Have a fantastic evening your side.
Thank you.
So the next wonderful person we're going to have on is, as Chris was mentioning, Phil Steinberg. And this wonderful person is speaking to us all the way from I was going to say South Africa, from Switzerland. And I was chatting with Phil. I just want to make sure that he is. Phil, are you there? I think I did see him on here. Did he hop off?
Yes.
Okay.
No, yes, I am.
There we go. There we go. I see you now. Hi, hi, hi. How are you?
Hey, hi.
Okay,
everybody.
super. So I just wanted to share a little bit more. So he had a hotel. Well, first of all, let me start. He was always a driven businessman wanting to make money. Phil started some 40 years ago in the network marketing industry. It was May 1982. He also was into a hotel, and he owned a restaurant complex as well that he sold to go full-time into network marketing. So I want to ask just quickly, Phil, and welcome to our wonderful summit. So it took you, because I quite like that comment though, it took you 10 years to figure out the network marketing industry. So I actually don't feel so bad when I heard that. And if it took you this long, do you think it's why most fail, as it took me the last 3 years to figure out what, and I'm still learning?
Well, first of all, hi, Mandy. Hi, everybody. And thanks for having me with you. Well, yeah, it did take me 10 years before I understood, even though I dreamt of network marketing even before I knew about it, because I've always been very frustrated when I was working in the hotel industry to be more involved than most people, working more hours, really feeling like responsible of the business, even though I was just a young employee, and I wasn't paid more. And that was something that I just never could understand. I've always been for meritocracy. It's not about a matter of how many years you've been working, it's about the results. And being there, you know, I was looking at the first franchisings that were out, and I say, but why can't we have that as an individual? Why can't I be paid for the business I bring to this hotel or these restaurants where, you know, and somewhere in my head, I was already imagining something like network marketing. But when I first, you know, had a job, actually, I was working for an airline as a steward. So I had some time free, and I wanted to make some more money, you know, even though at that time we were very well paid. I found a small ad, you know, and I found out it was a network marketing company. So I went to a house, and there was loads of products around the world, all over the office, etc. And I say, you know, and this lady started, you know, telling me how to get in it, and that all I had to do was sell the product and eventually find more partners. I say, wow, wonderful. What if I find partners? Yeah, you're going to get paid. Wow, fantastic. And then, you know, that's about all I got from her. There was no coaching. There was no real tuition. There was no internet at that time either, because it was in 1982. And, you know, so I just thought, you know, let's go to the big enterprises and let's try to make a stand and try to sell and so on. But hell, I mean, we're doing network marketing, not selling. If we had to sell as such, if it was the main concept, we wouldn't call it network marketing. But, you know, no one was there to explain me. So after a while, I say, okay, cosmetics, loads of cosmetics companies still exist, has been bought by another one, but and good product, but I just couldn't make it. Then I went to some food and things, I mean, but always in network marketing, until I was invited to another network marketing company, kind of a French Amway type. And actually it was built by an ex-Amway top leader. And there was a school. And there I started understanding. And there I was really in a team of people, and there was a communication, there was a synergy being built, and that's where I started understanding. So I sold my hotel complex, and off I went. But you were speaking, Mandy, about up and highs and lows. Right after I sold the hotel, this company was scammed and disappeared. So I started making money from network marketing. Oh, not a lot, and all gone. So I had to do something else. So I went back to a job in the hotel business while trying to rebuild, because I still wasn't a leader, strong or whatever. So up, down, high, lows. And then I started with other network marketing companies, and again, highs and lows, because I didn't know how to choose a network marketing company. So I had some good things, that one had. And anyway, after a while, it went down again, and again another, and again another. But I had, on the way, got some fantastic results. Because, yeah, I pretend I have broken some records in the industry. But whatever, it's not to say I'm good, etc. If I had done it so high, why don't I do it today? There's also being at the right time, at the right place, So, okay, I did this, but what's to be understood with that is that it's all about mindset. Often people ask me, what can I do to be successful like you? How can I reach success? How can I climb? See, that's the wrong question. Who are you? What's your mindset? Why would you do it? Are you ready to get up when you fall? Because, as Mark said, I failed and failed. My vision is you never, ever fail until you quit. Failures are only a lessons. Why do we react so bad to problems now that we're adults? When we were at school, in mathematics, they give us problems every day. What for? To find the solution, to resolve the question. Well, it's the same thing in life. A problem is not an obstacle. A problem is just done so you brainstorm in order to find the solution. So every time that something goes wrong, it's not a hit on the head. It's it's a challenge. How can I pass it? How can I go through it? You're on a track in the mountain, and in the middle of your path, you have a big stone. Are you going back home? Or do you find a way to pass on the other side of this stone? When you're on vacation, you take your car, you go on vacation, and your car breaks down. What do? Are you going back home? Or do you find a way to go on vacation and you take care of the car then? So why do, in real life, find a problem to a solution to all those problems? And when we speak business, there's a problem. Oh, heck. Okay, let me go back to my job. Mindset. And as long as you don't have the proper mindset, don't even dream of making your first million. Because you can't. Because if you don't have the proper mindset regarding money, why are we ashamed of money? Try to pay your food with a smile. Try to pay your rent with a smile. You need money. Money is the name of the game. So if you want to do something, you need money, like it or not. So admit it, accept it, embrace money instead of rejecting it. And it's the same with everything regarding failure. Oh gosh, I have to go to work. So what? If you don't like your work, be happy for what you get from your work, which is again your salary. Now, if really you don't get enough to compensate how much you hate your work, change work. Find what you like, and then find a way to make it lucrative. You like knitting? Well, find a way to make knitting lucrative. You know, you like painting nails? Find a way to make painting nails lucrative. Okay, and then you enjoy it. And that's the way, you know, when you have this kind of attitude, you know, then, as we say, you never work again in your life. But you need to know why you would do it. You need this reason. And that's why we speak of a big why. You know, to me, it's freedom. Because as an employee, and excuse me, I mean, I don't know how sensitive you are, and especially that you are in South Africa, and don't take it bad from me, but to me, an employee is a slave. And even worse, to some extent, when you have a good slave master, I'd rather be a slave than an employee, because at least a slave, as long as you do your job right, and you don't piss off your boss, you have your roof and you have your food. As an employee, how many people make the month ends work? So you're not even sure to have your roof and your food. And that's, to me, something that I cannot accept for me. So I needed this freedom, this right to do what it takes to have enough to protect myself. I don't want billions. I don't want the place of Warren Buffett, but I want to have this freedom of doing what I want, when I want, to go where I want, when I want. And I take this example as an SPD and making enough points. We've been invited to this reward trip in Marbella, Spain. Good. We spent 5 days there. Wow. We decided to spend a few days more. We stayed. We had nobody to ask permission to. I'm not even speaking about financial, because we could have stayed in a small hotel, you know, instead of the nice hotel that LifeWave invited us to. You know, we bloody liked it. When we reached home, first day, we've put our apartment for sale, saying we go back to Spain. 2 weeks later, we moved to Spain for a month to visit, to know the real estate, etc. We had no one that we had to ask permission. We just went there. Okay, and again, it's not a matter of how much we spend or not, because living in Switzerland or living in Spain is the same thing. You know, it's about freedom. How much freedom do you want? What price are you ready to pay for freedom? That's the real question. Because today, most people are working as slaves. And again, I use the word for 45 years to make the dreams true of a boss. And when finally they reach the permission to be free because they retire, they don't have the means to enjoy it. They don't have the health to enjoy it in many cases. What is being retired? Matter of age or matter of freedom and finances? You see, it's many years I don't work. But yeah, I work bloody hard because I'm always speaking LifeWave. See, I'm at the top, SPD. I'm sure I'm among the 40 biggest earners in LifeWave, or even if it's 50, whatever, okay? Every single day, I do three-way calls, including today, Saturday, including tomorrow, I have 2. Every day, I do between 4 and 10 three-way calls, because that's another question, and maybe I'm anticipated your your questions, Mandy. But you see, you're not a leader because you think you're a leader. You're a leader because you have helped enough people reaching their dream. And it's about being involved with people. It's not about standing here on a pedestal. Hey, Sir SPD, I don't need titles. It's, hey, Phil, I need your help. Sure. And if I don't hear from someone I have sponsored or someone I have spoke to about business, I'm anxious because it means that that person is about to quit. When I sponsor someone, I made a promise. You can make money. It's my job. It's my responsibility. Of course, I cannot do the job for you, but I'm here to do it with you. And you cannot do it alone because it's on the field that you learn. And you see, the beauty of network marketing is about you can be rich with 6 to 10 people. What you need is to make duplication. And most people expect people to duplicate instead of duplicating with them. And this is something that we have at length discussed with Chris. I know that he discussed it with Mandy. And this is something that is really will boost your business. But first, remember, it's about mindset. You never fail until you quit.
So I love that. And I'm gonna, because you have kind of answered all my questions. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverberate what you've been saying, because you know what, Phil? So many people look at our industry, and I said that, like it's a pyramid scheme. And if you look at corporate, you have just said that's the pyramid scheme. That's the slave. They've enslaved us in industry for years and years. And unfortunately, it's the programming. It's the belief system that even youngsters have today, that they have to leave school, they have to go and study, and they have to go and sit behind a desk. And it's sad. It's very sad. And I hope that in the future, we can change that, because so many youngsters need to join our 4-year career. There's a wonderful little book. It was one of my best books because it's such an easy read. The 4-year career. How many youngsters should have that as a workbook when they are in school? Because they only need to put in huge amounts of effort for 4 years and watch the growth. If they learn how to duplicate, like you said, Phil, this is such an incredible vessel. If we can really educate more people, more youngsters, to understand this incredible industry. So on that note, I also know that for me, resilience is very important in this. You've just said, you know, mindset is one, but resilience is the next one for me, because if you haven't got, I'll almost call it a thick skin. You've got to be able to go with all the no's. It is just what this business is all about. You cannot collapse when 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people have said no to you. So I think resilience for me in my 3.5 years that I've been building now, for me, what makes me go every single day is my resilience and my tenacity. I know my goal. I know my clear mindset of where I want to be, and I don't diverse from that. And that's what keeps me in this business every single day.
You see, about this this topic, what we need to understand that we have to leave our ego aside, but our ego in the sense of making the sales, convincing the people. Marketing is about giving desire to the other to go and see, versus selling, which is convincing the other. So we're not here to convince. We're here to pass on a message. How many people see a big ad in the streets and decide to go in the shop to see what this product is? Tens of thousands for one to go. So accept that. You are only a marketing tool. Stop being a salesman.
Agreed, agreed. I just want to mute this lady over here. So agreed. And I want to say something, Phil, as well. You've got a young son, amazing, who has hopped on board your business because of what you are doing. So, you know, yet again, this is an incredible industry for our youngsters. Has he always had the mindset to do network marketing, or is it something that he's seen because of your growth and your success?
A very good question. And especially that Mark, and with Mark, you have discussed it already. William, who is 20 now, is one of these kids that we find more and more who reject school, who refuse to learn from a man, you know, behind a desk. And because he's fed with internet, with the TV, which to me is a terrible thing, in fact, he dreamt of being rich. But the only example he had was us having a good life. We go in 4-star and 5-star hotels when we travel, not the most expensive, but, you know, I mean, luxury, we don't really count. What he was seeing was all those YouTube millionaires. I'm going to be a YouTube millionaire. And he spent everything he could, time, energy, nights in trying to be a millionaire. But the thing is, he never, ever did what it takes. And most of all, he was only looking at the facade and what people were saying, you know, trying to sell to them. But the problem is that walk the way that the others have done. Do what they have done. And what they never see and they never consider is that those guys have spent nights not in chatting, you know, to try to pull people to them, in doing a perfect job, montage on their videos, etc. And that 1 out of tens of thousands is going to make it. So it's not because you see like 10 millionaires that you're going to be a millionaire. You need to have, again, the mindset. It always comes to that. The mindset of the entrepreneur, which is the mindset of being organized, not of dreaming. If you're just dreaming, drop it. You need to, as you said, Mandy, to have your way, to design, and Chris said it too, you know, to design, to know where you go, to have this goal very defined, and every step to that goal has to be defined.
Agreed. Agreed.
And then finally, recently, William said, yeah, okay, I drop everything. Now I'm going to work with you because really, definitely, I like your lifestyle. And that's it. And very recently, only, he decided to do.
Well, good show, because I saw him on a post and I see him smiling from ear to ear. I see he had his little VIP tag around and I see he was thoroughly enjoying the limelight. So yeah. I'm definitely sure that we are going to see him on the stage. I want to thank you so much, Phil, for coming on this evening and sharing amazing, amazing information. And you know what? We need more wonderful people like you that are spreading the word, sharing your experiences, because so many people out there really need to hear about it. So I just want to thank you so much for doing this this evening. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Mandy, for inviting me.
Have a lovely evening going forward.
Thank you all.
So we've got David Jumper all the way from the beautiful Paradise Island of the Bahamas. So David and his wife, Spira, have had much success working from home in the network marketing industry. And originally they are actually from Canada, but now they reside, as I said, in the beautiful, and I mean, if you see the pictures, it's just incredible, in the beautiful, and I said Paradise of Bahamas, because that's exactly what it is. So welcome, David. I think I did see you hop on.
I'm here. Hi, Mandy.
Fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Good, good, good. Okay, so you've been with LifeWave since 2004, and what made you choose LifeWave? You've also been with them for 18 years, which means I was like, that means that you've been with them right from the beginning. So can you share some of your experiences? Because that's quite a long time to be with one company.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. You know, I've always been involved with or interested in nutrition. You know, I was back in the 60s and 70s when I was growing up. I was, you know, my parents were one of those hippies, you know, sort of speak, that would go to health food stores, you know, and you know, usually I'd be trading sandwiches with with friends, because I'd be I'd have this really hard, you know, bread, you know, from the health food stores. And anyway, all my belief in my life had to do with nutrition and something that you put in your mouth, you know, a drink or pill, you know, some kind of nutrition. What was interesting is that when a friend of mine was all excited about LifeWave, the energy enhancer patch, back in 2004, this was in the summer, you know, he called me up and he was so excited about this patch, and I could not relate to it. I just had no understanding about energy medicine or anything like it. For me, if it was good for you, you had to put it in your mouth, you know? He insisted on sending me a pair of these patches, and I said, fine, just to get him off the phone. I said, go ahead. and anyway, you know, you know, I got this number 10 envelope in the mail with a baggie in it and a business card and a little 3-fold brochure. And I opened it up and I looked at these things, and I let it sit on my desk in the sun, because my desk was just facing the sun at that time. After about 2 weeks, they kind of dried out and curled up in the sun. I just swept them into the garbage. So luckily for me, you know, he was very, you know, he actually had persistence and followed up, you know, he, you know, he called me up. He asked me, you know, how I liked the patches. And I said, I don't know, I threw them up. So he said, you did what? So what he did next, he said, listen, I'm going to send you 2 pairs of patches this time. And I want you to promise me you're going to put a pair in your wife and a pair in yourself. And, you know, and that's important to make that deal with people, right? He didn't make that deal the first time, you know? So that's important when you send anything to anyone. You've got to get that commitment that they're going to try the patches. So I put a pair on my, on myself, and I had, you know, great results, you know, late at night. And I put a pair on my wife the next morning, and I didn't tell her what they were. I just said, you know, just let me know how you feel. So that day she started cleaning up the house, every nook and cranny in this house. It was a big, you know, 3-level home. And that night at 10:30 at night, I was looking for her, couldn't find her anywhere. And the last place, there she is. I find her in the garage, and she's cleaning up the garage, you know, after cleaning up the rest of the house. And I said, what are you doing in here? She says, you know, cleaning up. She says, what time is it? I said, 10:30. She says, 10:30, get these things off me. She rips them off. And I thought, okay, that's it. We're joining, you know. So we joined the business the next day. For me at that point, the very first patch, the energy enhancer patch, it was a little bit of a novelty. You know, it was exciting. It was unique. But at that point, I didn't really understand that this was going to be something that was really going to be beneficial. All I knew was it gave us energy, and you know, that was exciting. So, you know, you know, from there, you know, really, you know, bottom line is, you know, we ended up growing, you know, and LifeWave, all the patches that LifeWave came out with were really incredible. And there was a foundation being built. And at the same time, over the first 15 years, you know, LifeWave made most, you know, probably every mistake that a company could make. But the beauty of LifeWave, and the reason I stayed, is because the integrity really of David Schmidt from the top down was second to none. Because, you know, I'd been with companies over the years, and I've had experiences with company owners that did not have integrity, and I had a lot of bad experiences. And usually, from my past experience, it was usually the companies that let down the distributors. It wasn't, you know, so much the distributors. So for me, it was really important to have to be with a company that you know, where the owner had integrity and could, you know, look you in the eye and you believed, you know, everything that he said. I had other, you know, I remember meeting with a CEO of another company and for lunch once. He would not look at me in the eye. You know, it's like he never looked at me straight in the eye, and I knew there was something wrong. And I eventually, you know, ended up having a bad experience with this company. You know, I found out that, you know, and this guy ended up getting charged for all, you know, tax evasion and all kinds of things, and the company ended up shutting down. So these are all signs. And the sign I have with LifeWave is we've got a company with integrity. We've got, you know, products that are you know, patches that are unique. For me, that was important because, you know, it seemed like every nutritional company out there was just another formula that was, you know, another variation of a formula, another pill, another cream. You know, there was never really anything truly unique and proprietary where you could build a business that was really long term. They all seem to be pretty well, you know, short-term plans, you know, flash in the pan deals over the years. And, you know, there's obviously been a few that have really, you know, stuck, you know, that have lasted long term, but they're kind of hard to find. So, you know, finding LifeWave and really sticking with the company, it was important. Not quitting is really the only way to succeed. And, you know, you know, there was many times when, you know, there was many reasons, you know, where my wife and I could have quit. And we probably discussed it more than once, but, you know, we always decided to stay with it. We believed in our technology and trusted David Schmidt and the company. And we really felt that we found our home. You know, as other companies had, you know, always had these shiny objects out there that people were running to. And, you know, we would be building our business, and you'd lose people because they'd find these other shiny objects. and it was disappointing, but I'm really glad that I stuck with it. And you know, for the first 15 years, we really, LifeWave, you know, has incredible products. And obviously everybody, you know, most people on the call, you know that. And we knew that, but for the first 15 years, we displayed 15 products, you know, so it's like a confused mind does nothing. So we had lots and lots of product buyers and very few really serious builders out there for the first 15 years. It was more of a wholesale buyers club for people around the world than it was of a serious opportunity for a lot of people. I'm not saying everybody, but, you know, it wasn't until X39 that we had that single product focus, and we went from lifestyle patches, you know, to anti-aging patches to now with X39, the regeneration, and something that we're really, you know, people, you know, it's a patch now that we understand people need to wear that patch every day, you know, to see results. And now, after, you know, experiencing the first 3.5 years since, you know, my wife first tried this patch and myself, you know, we realize that the results people are getting are not just their immediate results, but they're finding, you know, the increasing results every single year in the way they look and the way they feel. You know, so many people that I met in our launch back in Muncie, Austria, in January 2019, look younger today than they did back then, you know, including Phil, including Christoph, and you know, Phil's wife Victoria. When I met them in Nice, France at the conference, it was amazing. You know, they're looking younger today than I remember them back then. So, you know, that's exciting.
So super, that is, you know what, and I mean, we know that it's an incredible product, and I think it's interesting. It must have been quite an interesting journey for you because of the change in the different products that were coming out, and in particular, the Whopper, which is the X39. Now, I want to ask you, people always say that it's only the people at the top that make money. I have had so many people say to me, oh, you know what, Mandy, we're not going to start now because you know what, you would have had to have started right in the beginning. You're never going to make money like them. What are your thoughts on that?
I've got people that are coming back today that were involved with LifeWave back 15, 18 years ago. And they're joining today because they realize what it is. You know, like I said, you know, we really spent the first 15 years building the foundation, and really the last 3 years since X39 came out, we didn't know. Like my wife, you know, was bedridden before X39 came out. She was bedridden. She had, her joints were swollen. I had to dress her in the morning. You know, I had to, you know, help her downstairs, and I did all the cooking, cleaning, shopping. She couldn't drive. She couldn't even turn a door handle, you know, and so she got immediate results. But, and for me, it took me about my 4th week before, you know, I saw an improvement in my knee where I had cracked my kneecap up the middle. And I found that healing after my 4th week. Some people, you know, we found you were maybe taking, you know, 3 months or more before they really saw the results that, you know, they were looking for, whatever it may be. But I guess the difference today is that even 3 years ago when X39 came out, was that the perfect time to join? We had a lot of people join and they didn't, and they quit. They didn't give it, you know, time to experience those results. But now we didn't really know how to respond to those people either. So now, you know, we didn't know if, you know, things were going to plateau after, you know, 6 months, if that's the results would just stop at that point, or after a year, after 2 years, you know. But now after 3.5 years since we originally tried the patches, now we're seeing that people are getting results every year. So I think that when you look at LifeWave today, if I was looking for a brand new opportunity today, there is no doubt in my mind I would join LifeWave and build from scratch today. And I would build the largest organization that I built in my life, because it's all about belief. And anyone that's experienced LifeWave, experienced X39, and has been here at least over the last, you know, year or 2 or 3, you know, and they've experienced X39 and they're seeing the results, and they've got that belief, and they really understand the integrity of this company and where we're going. This is a legacy company. And there's so many people I talk to today, and they're tired of all these, you know, here today, gone tomorrow companies, and just sort of weak products and things. And they're looking for something unique. And we've got that here, and we've got something that's helping people around the world. And, you know, so when you look at, from, like I said, if I was looking for something today, it would be, I'd be joining this business from the start. And most, I would say most network marketers and most business people have never heard of LifeWave. And if they had joined, it was maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and a lot of those people are coming in today. You know,
so just a quick one as well. I mean, you obviously work with your wife, but I mean, you know, listening to her being bedridden, she probably wasn't very involved in the beginning. But does she play a big role in your business? Is she very involved in your business? And how do you find working with your wife in a network marketing? Because you've got another couple coming on after you, and you don't often find couples working together, because you can have a different characteristic and a different way of working. So how have you found it with your wife?
You know, I would say in the beginning, when I first met my wife, she wasn't interested in network marketing. Okay. I was involved in network marketing. And, the first company we got involved with, we put our heart and soul in this company. She helped me build this company. This was back in the early 90s. This company ended up going, after we spent 2 years building it, we built a large organization together. This company ended up going bankrupt after the founders were both charged with bank fraud. So we got off to a bad start in networking, but my wife continued to believe and support me, in my dream. And she also, had that dream as well. And what really, ever since the beginning with LifeWave, my wife has, worked with me in building. And it was only in 2017 that my wife's health deteriorated and she started getting this autoimmune disease and the joint swelling and everything. And the other patches weren't helping. So it wasn't until X39 that, David Schmidt sent those to us, and I put one in my wife's hand, and she felt that relief in 5 minutes. I mean, that was just, and she had tears flowing down her face. So I guess the point is, when it comes to, it's super important to obviously have your spouse supporting you, and without that, it's very difficult, to build your business. That really is key. I think, I believe that, and when you're talking to a prospect, I was talking with a prospect yesterday, and the first thing he did was when he started to get interested in what I was saying, the first thing he did, he was, here, let me call my wife. I want her to hear this. That's the most important thing, because, you want to be presenting, the business to couples when you can together. So they're both really on the same page.
So that's fantastic. And you know what, David, I want to ask you too, because we've spoken about it now. What do you share when people say to you, because we know that this is an incredible vessel. We know that this is a vessel to freedom. We know not just financial freedom, but truly, if you're putting your heart and soul into this business, you're building this business, you're getting to year 5 to 7, and you're seeing that wheel turn in your favor. You're starting to be able to do more things for your family. You're starting to be able to travel. We're not even talking about the really big money that you can make if you continue doing it in this industry. But we look at so many people, and it's so sad. They look at this business like a pyramid scheme. What do you say to people when that's like the first thing that they say? Oh my word, it's that thing.
Well, I would say that, that's not really an argument that I get into with most people. And it's not something I get defensive about. It's network marketing. And these days, there are a lot of businesses online are affiliate marketing programs and offer, a referral, type of income. So I think it's becoming more and more accepted these days, this type of referral income. I would say that the beauty of this business is that, it's helping other people, and your income, through your network, as your network grows, your income is really directly related, to how many people you share this business with and how many people are benefiting from the LifeWave patches and technology. So the more people you help, really, the higher your income is going to be, bottom line. And it's most businesses are shaped this way. You've got the CEO at the top, you've got the upper management, you've got the employees at the bottom, and generally those employees, the only way for them to get to the top or the middle management to get to upper management is to step on each other. And in network marketing, it's teamwork, and everybody's working together. So everyone has the same opportunity here. We've got people joining the business in the last, year or two that are, surpassing income of many other people that have been in the business for years. So
So I've seen wonderful Nikki. She was just recently on the stage at convention, your wonderful daughter. And I think you mentioned that she's been using the patches since she was 14. Am I right?
Right, right,
Right.
right.
So, I want to know, did she just wonderfully decide to start network marketing, or was it something that just because her dad was doing it, it was what she learned subliminally? Because I sometimes believe that my son sits next to me while doing his work, and I can almost put my head on a block that he will be programmed at some point in time to do this industry. I really hope he will, but I can't push those buttons for him. I have to let him do it on his own. So was it something that she automatically decided, you know what, this is an incredible vessel, I understand this, and this is what I want to do? Or was it something that just happened because dad was doing it?
Well, I can't say I didn't have, an influence on her. Obviously I did, but, you things that you want for your children, they don't necessarily want for themselves. So she really had to, she loved the patches. So I think over the years, she wore the patches ever since she was 14. And, I would patch Nikki and also her brother, Matt, I would patch them, before going to soccer and Matt, before hockey games. And, Nikki would always they both, wear the patches on their temples when they're studying, just to focus and things like that, the energy enhancer. So over the years, I would say, Nikki did start to, build the business a little bit, but with me back, several years ago. But it wasn't really until the experience that my wife had, that her mother had with X39, that she became passionate about sharing LifeWave. Before that, Nikki couldn't hug her mother, and it was life-changing for my wife, but also for our whole family. So that I would say, and at the same time, my son Matt, he, even though he's been using the patches all his life, it wasn't until we just came back from Amsterdam from a health show there that he decided that he wanted to build a business, because he was patching people through that whole show because someone else couldn't show up. So we asked him to come and, help us patch people. And he decided after that, he wanted to build a business because, he saw, he just enjoyed helping people. And, it was very emotional when, he was really making huge change in some people's lives, at the show.
So I didn't even know it was the entire family now that's network marketing individuals as opposed to just Nikki. So that's very interesting. Okay, so super.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, David, I want to say thank you so much, because I also want to say, you and I chatted and you said that you've just bought an incredible yacht, and you said, you know what, leave that out. And I said, no, David, that is freedom, the essence of freedom. That is when you've worked your butt off for however many years, and you can actually splurge and go and buy yourself one of those amazing boats so that you can travel around the Bahamas. So what is your whole scenario around freedom? How do you see freedom for you?
I really believe that freedom, well, I would say getting up in the morning early because you want to get up early, and it's not sleeping until noon, but it's getting up because you're excited to get up in the morning, because you're excited with what you're doing and helping people and sharing with people. That's freedom. It's enjoying what you do. And I could not imagine doing anything other than LifeWave and helping people financially and helping people with their, with their health and, with their needs. It's,
so,
this is exciting.
You know, David, I was introduced to network marketing I think about 35 years ago, and I was selling a shake at the time. And I often say in some of my webinars and in my training that I wished that someone had taken my hand and showed me just a glimpse of what I've learned over the last 3.5 years, because my life would have been so very different. And I was quite a good salesperson at the time. And because I had an incredible story, I'd lost 13 kilos, I was able to sell shake like a crazy person. But unfortunately, because it was so retail based, and I mean, I'm going to tell you a story now that's going to make you laugh, but I walked into a room, it was a convention full of people, and I looked at all of them and I thought, because they were all hugging, there was this loud music, they were all happy, and I thought, this is a cult, I've got to leave. They're going to steal me, and they're going to put me somewhere, they're going to do something. And I was so naive, I was so ignorant. And I turned around that day and I walked out, and my upline ran after me and she said, where are you going? I said, I'm done. She said, what do you mean you're done? I said, I'm done. I'm never selling any shake. I don't want anything to do with this company. And when I look back on my life now, I could kick myself. So I wished that I had known what I know now. But you know what, like you've just shared with us, there is no better time than right now to do what you want to do with this industry. You can start at any time. I mean, I know that there's a gentleman in another company. He started at 62. He's in his 80s. He's still growing his organization and traveling the world. So there's no age limit in this incredible industry. And I often say that so many people that are sitting in retirement, that are not actually old enough to be retired and sit and do nothing, have the ability, because they have the experience. They have the experience, business experience, to do something amazing like this, and then, increase or get some more income coming in. So I think it's an incredible vessel for absolutely anyone. If you want to really change your life, your financial situation, get off your bum and just do it.
Amen. I agree.
David, I want to thank you so much for coming on and chatting to us, sharing your experiences. And it's really good to actually meet you face to face. It's really been a pleasure.
You too, Mandy.
Thanks so
for
much.
having me here. Okay.
Pleasure. Have a lovely day.
You're welcome.
Bye.
You too. Thank you.
Cool. So we come to almost the end of our wonderful summit, and we have two wonderful people, and they had to be last because they got to sleep a little later, all the way from Australia, Andrew and Angie Logan, and I did see them come in. So welcome. Are you there?
Yeah, Mandy, how are you? We're
Hello.
here.
Hello.
Hi, Mandy.
How are you?
Very well, thank
Good.
you.
Good. Okay, so listen, I just want to introduce this powerhouse couple who have built an incredible organization below them. They built their organization together after Andrew used a wonderful product, as he shares with us time and time again. He was a slightly overweight before his wedding, got a wonderful product, and he slimmed down to look absolutely amazing walking down that aisle. And after that, these two amazing people started the business. They also have two wonderful children. They are all the way across in Queensland. And I really wanted to show Andrew's beautiful outlook that he exercises his beautiful patch of green grass. But I am battling to get my wits about me when I'm doing my presentations and stuff like this. So don't worry about that, but it is awesome where they stay. It is beautiful. It's just green as far as the eyes can see. So just welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for taking the time out and to be part of the summit, because we really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, it's bright and early in the morning, as you know here.
I know.
So we could take the laptop out and show you the sunrise if you want to.
And
A live
Andy,
stream view. Yeah.
I know that, and I know that Andrew doesn't mind getting up because little doggy goes for a walk, but Angie likes to sleep in. So I applaud you, Angie, and I thank you so much for being present this morning, bright and breezy and bushy-tailed.
I don't mind one bit, Mandy. And actually, yesterday I got up, it was probably just about 5 a.m. and I went for a rainforest run with some friends. So this is my second morning up early, so it might be creating a habit for me, a healthy habit.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Okay, we're going to start off with Angie. So Angie, Andrew often calls you the extrovert. He's the introvert. And I have to laugh sometimes when he says, and he always shares the story, that you are for one person that goes off to buy something very small, 3 hours later, you brought an entire new crowd of friends with you that you have made. I wish that I had that ability. I don't have that ability either. So Andrew, I'm with you on this one. So how do you do that? And how do you feel? How do you just have that kind of personality, Angie?
That's a very good question. And it's interesting, Mandy. I think it's a few things. Number one, like when I hear it back, and it's very true, and I do think it's a very odd trait to have. But I think one of the main things is every day when I get up and I leave the house, it's about, even with my family, it's about how am I showing up? How are people seeing me? What can I give to the world today? And what can I take back from someone? What can I learn from someone? And I think that's a big thing. There are times in network marketing when we do get going and we become overwhelmed with, I have to meet these people and I have to talk to them. Then we become quite flummoxed and, as I said, overwhelmed. We overthink it. Whereas I've always taken on the perspective of put your best foot forward, go out there. How am I showing up to people? Do I look open? And we've spoken about this a lot, podcasts and different things. So I'm always conscious of how the world sees me. Do I look open, approachable? And you naturally draw people to yourself in that regard. So, I mean, I met a beautiful woman and she's a very good friend of mine in an airport. Coincidentally, we were heading off to Canada, sitting opposite each other, waiting to board the plane. And we just got talking and she said, would you mind looking after my bags while I just go to the bathroom? And I said, of course I don't mind. Came back and I got to know everything about her, just asked lots of questions. Now, in doing that, I genuinely was interested. There was a connection there from the start. She was someone that I looked at and thought, I'd really love to get to know you. We've become great friends. She came on board business-wise in time. It wasn't something that happened in that moment. It was a relationship and a rapport that we established and built. It's happened at hairdressing salons as well. Just going there to get my hair done. It's not so I can sit there and think, how can I bring up my product to this woman or this opportunity to this woman? It was asking lots of questions, getting to know her. And in turn, people then will ask about you as well. And I guess it's not every single person you meet that this will happen with, but I guess it's just getting really good at asking questions, asking the right questions. The first step, which is what I said, is just having that openness, that approachability where people sort of think, I can tell this person anything. I'm drawn to this person. It's, and it's a mutual thing. It shouldn't take effort. And I am conscious that it isn't natural for everyone. It's not natural for Andrew, but in saying that, when I met Andrew, I pretty much had to ask him out in a sense. He asked me out, but it took a lot of prompting and it was basically like, and that's fine. So for the introverts there or people that do struggle, my advice for you is put yourself in environments where you feel comfortable. So as an example, Andrew loves fitness, he loves the gym, he loves business, that kind of thing. So he's not going to come along with me to a mother's group, for example, and start trying to spark up all these meaningful conversations with women and brand new babies. That's not his thing. So put yourself around people that you connect with and just let it flow naturally from there. And I guess as well, go into every interaction with someone thinking, what can I learn from this person? Because everyone has something very special about them, something very unique that we can learn from. And in turn, something that like as an action thing, if I do feel a really good connection, we'll become Facebook friends or we'll follow each other on Instagram. I'll message them afterwards. It was so nice to meet you. I loved how we spoke about this, this, and this. And so then that's how you can then carry on the relationship or friendship from there. But I always ask their permission first. Is it okay if we can connect, you know, on Facebook, or you might exchange a number if there's a reason, depending on what the conversation was about, so you can follow up on something. Gardening centres, I've met people there. I'm going to send you a photo of my magnolia that I planted 2 years ago, and what I've done to help it thrive. Little things. So yeah,
I think
long
that's
and the short of it.
amazing. I think that's amazing, Angie. And I think, you know what, the whole idea around what you've just explained is make friends. Is make friends.
Mhm.
I think we put
Yes.
our business too much in the forefront when we start this business. I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to get the business going, and we forget that yet again it's network marketing, and we're building relationships and we're building friendships, and that's really important. And I think, you know, I think that's what you have, that, and as you said, many people don't have, is the ability to make friends really easily. So, and I think it's actually hard sometimes for people to, I know I'm a red, and Andrew knows me like this, and I'm not the big friend type because I'm so business orientated and so driven. So it's so difficult. I have to step back from myself sometimes and say, Mandy, you have to listen more, you have to interact more. It's not just about selling. So I find it very difficult to be more friendly than to be less business-like. So I really try and find the balance now. I learned a lot from Andrew around that, by the way.
Yes, yes. And actually, can I just add one more thing to
Yep.
that, Mandy? I know that down the track, when people discover that I'm in network marketing, sometimes they'll say, I've had a couple of ladies in particular, and it's really made me sort of step up, and they're like, but you're so normal. Like, and I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, every person that I've met in your industry is so pushy, and but you're normal. And so I think that's the big thing, is be relatable to other people, because then those type of people will think, well, actually, I have rejected offers from people before, but I'm open to hearing what you have, because you don't frighten me. You aren't trying to push something on me. So yeah, it's just taking that step back and letting people see you as a human being that doesn't have an agenda. And that's for me where the magic comes in anyway.
I love it. I love it. That's really lovely information. So Andrew, I know you and I have chatted, and I've heard in your teachings with your wonderful training, I want to talk about the lows, because I've heard how you and Angie used to sit in your car and do your calls before work. And I think many people who are building towards their freedom don't realize how much you give up. I think yet again, that wonderful success little mountain that you see, and all of the negatives at the bottom, the working really hard, the no's, you know, all the negatives, as I say, you never really see where people got to their success. You never really see what they gave up. So give us a little bit of your lows and how difficult it really was at times to build your business.
Yeah, of course, Mandy. And apologies if you can hear a hungry cat in the background.
Don't worry about it.
We cannot.
We cannot.
Yeah, okay. But well, yeah, it's let's just talk about some of the challenges, I guess, first, and then we'll talk about some of the sacrifices as well. So when we started, and as I said, I mean, it was just me purely using a product from, you know, just needing to lose weight for the wedding, and we had a good life. It was a good life as far as I had a very good income. Angie had a job that she loved and all that kind of stuff. But we'll talk about, you know, moving from a good life into a great life. But the one thing that was a challenge for me in this good life is that we were living in a bit of a negative town. We're just living in this sort of small town at the time. And it wasn't a town that was really well known for, you know, positivity and supporting each other, and this sort of small town gossip and challenges and that kind of stuff. So when we did start network marketing, and there was actually the lady who enrolled us was in the same town as well. And there was just so much environmental toxicity. And there were just people like all over their social media, like slamming us, this company, anyone involved in network marketing, anything like that. And, you know, I had a professional business in this town. And so then my business partner was basically like, you need to make a choice, because the negativity around this industry in general and all that. And then that's going to reflect on people not wanting to come to our successful business, which was a health professional business. I'm a physiotherapist by trade. So copped a lot of that, from some of the closest people to you. My business partner was like, you need to make a choice between earning 6 figures here or earning like the $50 a week that you're earning at the moment in your network marketing business. I know Angie, she had some negativity from, immediate family members. I remember her just coming home from like a family barbecue once, totally in tears. And, that was really tough. Obviously, my best man and one of my groomsmen, I remember one of my groomsmen sending me an email like, if you keep doing this thing, I don't think we can be friends. And at the time, this is 10 years ago, when your belief isn't quite there, you don't have results yet, you don't have that really strong environment around you, you haven't made those close friends with mentors and stuff who really pull you through those challenges. And yeah, I remember, Angie just in a dark room in tears kind of stuff after the family barbecue. I was curled up on the bed, sort of rocking side to side with this email, and I remember I couldn't sleep. I was sitting there at like 1 a.m. just staring at it, like, how do I respond to this thing? Thankfully, thankfully the friendship's repaired, and we're actually flying to New Zealand next week to spend their 40th with him, to do his 40th and that kind of stuff. So, it's all fine now in that regard. But the biggest thing was environment and making sure that we kept our own vision. And we started to as we move into the sacrifices, we did understand that we needed to change our environment. And we did need to change the people who are around us, because there weren't people who believed in us, but there were people who did. And we found ourselves just moving out of old friendship circles, moving out of old beliefs. We did move out of that town eventually as well. Now, funnily enough, the number 1, number 4, and number 5 income earners in our company all came from this tiny little town with, small, bad financial mindsets. And it wasn't a very well, sort of renowned town, but it's amazing, right? Like this tiny town, 3 of the top 5 income earners in the country. But from there, it was about, okay, so what's our vision? And what's our vision as a family? What's our vision as a husband and wife? And what are we willing to give up to get there? So I always remember, and I talk about it a lot in training, I remember meeting a guy who climbed Mount Everest, and he talks about on that last day, you've got to remove everything from your pack, because the oxygen deprivation, the altitude, the effort, you have to remove everything. And he even snapped his toothbrush in half, because the bottom half of his toothbrush was just something that, he couldn't take to the top. And his line was, you can't take everything with you to the top. And as you do go to the top, it does get a bit lonely, but it's quality over quantity at that point. You really find quality people and you surround yourself with that. So, we did sacrifice time at the gym. We did sacrifice date nights. We did sacrifice a lot of those sorts of things. We kept boundaries in place to make sure things didn't flow over. But the flip side as well is, once we did build this business and once we created the freedom, now we can have date nights all the time. Now we can go on even better, instead of just we'll give up a weekend away. Now we can do we just had our 10-year anniversary of 5-star Maldives, amazing week kind of stuff. I've just had some knee surgery and some challenges lately, but a few years ago, I was the fittest I've ever been in my life, because we'd given up the gym in the short term, gave up those gym sessions, gave up the running and stuff, just to free up extra time, so that then we could create more time later. And then we're able to get, Angie's just run her first ever half marathon. We're able to do all these goals that we couldn't do in a good life, but once we created a great life, we could do them all.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. So Angie, what have you found to be the most difficult to do as a couple in this industry?
Oh, there's a couple of things. That's a good question. And because we are quite opposite, aren't we?
Yes.
So that comes with its challenges. And obviously getting started, Andrew said before, he was 12 months in before I came on board. And when I did eventually come on board, that was after we'd sat together. And he just said, look, I really want your support in this. He was the one who really sort of wanted to drive this. I had no idea about it. I just thought this was his little thing for 12 months. But I could really see the earnestness in him and the desire, and I couldn't ignore it. So I did what every good wife does, and I committed to, I said, look, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and we'll see how it goes. So as we got going together, I think some of the biggest challenges were, as we are different, it's getting on the same page, getting on the same page and moving in the same direction together, because you can have the same goals, but the idea of how to get there for two different people can be very, very different. So it's every single week, we will sit down on a Monday and we have like a staff meeting, and we go through what we've got planned for the week, what we're going to be doing, just like an accountability, like the calls that that we would generally do with other people, other colleagues. So right from the start, we sat down, we listed every single job, every single task within our business, and we worked out or identified our strengths and our weaknesses. And so these became my tasks, these became Andrew's task, and whatever sat in the middle, we kind of negotiated and worked out who was the best man for that job. Now, in saying that, although we did split roles in a sense, we still made sure that we could work on those other goals. So as an example, compensation plan at the start wasn't a strong thing for me. Like, I understood it, but when I met someone, I just wanted to get them started. I wanted to coach them on the products and getting the results. When it came to the compensation plan, because I was so fixated on the other, I tended to ignore it a little bit. So what I did was then, as soon as that topic came up, in came Andrew, and he took care of that side of it. But I made sure that I knew the compensation plan back to front, inside out, so that I could talk about that to people if need be. So it wasn't a matter of like, this was solely me, this was solely him. Training and stage is something that he loves. That's his wheelhouse. I struggled with it. So that always became his thing. But if the company ever asked me to step up, I stood up. So it's a matter of there's times where you feel so uncomfortable and so stressed, but we all know that's where the growth comes in. So there's a lot of difficulties within it, but that was a big thing. So aside from all of that, I guess the most important thing is, if you are building with your partner, is getting really clear on your goals. And when the difficult times do come up, you have to keep communicating and making sure that you are driving in the same direction. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to build and maintain a successful business.
Agree. So Andrew actually answered both of my questions as far as the highs and the lows, and what he actually gave up. So I'm going to go to the next one for him. So you've written an incredible book, Andrew, your second one, The Way Out Together. And this is really your experience and really helping others who are wanting to build as a couple. Tell us a little bit about the book, and just share a little bit about what people can gain from purchasing this book from you going forward in the industry.
Yeah, well, sorry for answering both those questions
That's
the first
fine.
time. I will just quickly say, as a summary on that thing, like, if you are struggling with balance is a huge thing that people struggle with. And the one thing I'll just say is, if we always strive for balance, but remember, if I'm balanced right now, it's because I'm standing still. I'm standing on one leg, but I'm not moving. So you do need to unbalance your life if you want to move forward. And that does mean you need to look at what's really important and what's just okay. And you need to get rid of all the okay things. Warren Buffett says, if you write down the 25 things you want to achieve this year and then cross out 24 of them, and that's how you reach your goal, kind of stuff. You do need to have just that single focus. But let's talk about, so Angie came on board with this one, talking about working with your partner. It's something, we are very, very blessed to have this incredible relationship and marriage, and have been able to build a great business around it. But unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people struggle, seen people, go through challenges in their marriage, and some marriages just don't last because of the challenges. One partner grows and the other doesn't. Maybe, one just doesn't support and the other feels they need to leave. And so a lot of you know, the challenges that come with this industry, we felt, well, if we could just help people communicate better, a lot of those challenges wouldn't show up. And so we wrote this. So it's The Way Out Together, and it's our couple's guide to network marketing success, and tried to keep it as practical as possible. So there's sort of 6 main skills to work on, 6 main focus points, and then action plans on each focus point. We wanted to talk about as well, you know, the unsupportive spouse, the apathetic spouse, you know, because, you know, when I was a physio, it was okay that Angie wasn't a physio. I think sometimes, again, we've got to realize, like, just because I was doing network marketing doesn't mean Angie had to do network marketing. I just needed her, you know, we just needed to figure out where we fitted together in this grand scheme of things. And, you know, obviously she came on board, and that's awesome. We've been able to grow that, but that took a lot of communication and talking through things at the start. So we've interviewed a number of people as well, interviewed some, you know, really successful couples, and just got them to share their story as well. So hopefully we can provide a lot of perspective. I think there's 8 couples interviewed, and 2 of them are building the business on their own. You know, they're in a marriage, they're in a very happy, long-term, successful marriage, but only one's building as well. So we wanted to share those stories that, you know, you can have a negative spouse, but you can just have like a supportive spouse that's just not in your business. And just how do you then make sure that you work through that? And it's no different to, you know, our accountant who he was with me from day one when I bought my business. So it's like 20 years I've had with this accountant. So he's seen us go from nothing to quite successful. He's seen us build this huge property portfolio, and he's, you know, been there helping us create all the structures and you know, trusts and companies and all that kind of stuff. Never once asked us to join the business. Never once, like, what is this thing? Okay, it makes money, cool. Like, but still an integral part of our overall vision. And so we wanted to share that whole story for people, hopefully help them achieve all those things and achieve their vision. And wealth is a team sport, basically, guys. And it's the best thing about network marketing is that it is a team sport. You've got great upline, you've got great leaders, you've got great mentors, all that kind of stuff. Surround yourself with a winning team, and that's how you achieve financial freedom.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, for those of you that are watching and will watch in the future, you need to get Andrew's first book, which is called The Way Out, because that was the book that made me understand network marketing. When I finished that book, and I did it in about 2 days, a really easy read, I totally got network marketing and I got excited. And I'm forever grateful. And I always say to Andrew, he was the person that got me excited about network marketing. And I will never, ever leave what he calls this amazing vessel because of his book, The Way Out. And our entire team at the time, he sent me an entire box full of these books when we could still get it to South Africa in one piece. And all of my team got, and we've all read it and we all love it. So for those of you that are out there and you're in the network marketing industry and you haven't read it, you've got to read his book. So one last question goes to Angie. And I think we can leave a link, Andrew, in this in the comment section so that they can go and check it out if they are wanting to look for your book. So Angie, you have 2 beautiful children. You have a beautiful son and a daughter. And how have you found at times building this business with kids? I mean, I know how difficult it is for me. Sometimes I even have Skylar come in when I'm in a Zoom because sometimes I'm not spending enough time with him and he needs to ask me something, and he will stand here while I'm having a live and ask me a question, and I just about want to wring his neck. So how have you found, you know, doing this business, dealing with customers and being on the phone and having a little kitty ask you for things? How have you found this?
That's a very good question. So when we got started, Oceana was 6 at the time, 6 or 7 at the time. I was actually pregnant with Jack. So that was fun. But he was like a little, it was like a little ticking time bomb. So that was the urgency. So our goal was to replace my income by the time I was due to go back to work. At the time as well, Oceana was being homeschooled. I was working part-time, Andrew was full-time. So it all became about just pockets of time. We started off with 30 minutes a day, and then it was kind of like 2 30-minute blocks. As Andrew said before, it came sacrifice was the biggest thing. There wasn't TV. There was, we just gave up so much socializing and that kind of thing, because we had our goals set there, and we weren't going to let anything stand in the way of that. So basically, when Oceana would go to bed at night, we'd had our working days. We were both so tired, but we would sit side by side on the lounge with our laptops and do our half-hour blocks, a little bit longer if we could. And that kind of routine went on for a while. Eventually, when Jack came along, I was still very just pockets of time, but I became so passionate about it that when I wasn't feeding him or doing certain things, when he went to bed, I got to work, and I was very, very motivated to do so. As the kids got older, and it does become challenging. Oceana was still being homeschooled, so we had the two of them. Then I was at home full time. We wanted to bring Andrew home as well, so that was kind of our next driver. But something that we did, which was probably the game changer for us, is when we sat every 12 months and worked on our goals, the kids did too. So they knew exactly what we were heading for, what we wanted. They did vision boards with us, and we included them. We said, what do you want? Where do you want to go? Do they want charities? Do they want to go to the UK for, like, what do you want? So at times where we were pushing really hard in our business, they knew, and we would always communicate that with them. We'd say, look, mum and dad have got to have an hour in the office together. It's really important. We're pushing towards that goal we spoke about. So, and they'd get excited. Okay, no worries. So they would go and sit and they would, draw or color in, or they'd watch a movie, whatever. And then as they got older, they've come on trips with us. They've come to events with us, and they get it. They know that rather than, because the difficult part was.
Sorry, I was just going to interrupt. Jack takes boxes of products and like gives them to the teacher. Like he's, he even like he'll tell his friends they have to subscribe to my YouTube channel and stuff. Like he's the biggest cheerleader.
Yeah. So although there have been difficult times, and I always say to the mums out there and even the dads, to me, difficult was hopping in the car and taking my kid to daycare, my daughter. Like that was difficult. And it makes me want to cry every time, but I'm not going to today. But that was difficult. And it was like, there are days where I get up and I think, I don't want to do this call. I don't want to do this. But I didn't want to put on a uniform anymore and go to a job that didn't fire me up the way this did. So it was like, you choose this or you choose that. They're both difficult at times. But I knew which difficult I wanted. So that was the big thing. Get the kids to understand what you've got set, as a couple, as a family, and let them participate in that as well. And then as you would reach each milestone, they were so excited. And I guess one more thing as far as devices go, because a lot of women will say, I don't want my kids seeing me on the phone and that kind of thing. The reality is kids are on the phone, they're on the iPad. It's the way of the future. It's the way the world is going. There is mindless scrolling. There are playing games. There's stuff that's non-productive. When we're on the phone and we will communicate, this is work time. This is how we build our business. This is how we build your dreams. So, and they understand that. And it's always little blocks of time, same as at the start. We're not sitting there for hours and hours on the lounge, tuning out to them. That's focus time. Time with them is focus time. So you have to have that sort of set in place.
Your kids probably don't want to see you leave the house all the time either, right? It's that, I don't want my kids to see me on my phone. Well, they don't want you to be sitting on the couch unhappy and unfulfilled either. But the kids don't want to see that.
No.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That was an incredible bit of information, because I think it's going to help so many people out there. I can tell you that my husband, wonderful Vincent, was not a very good supporter of what I was doing with network marketing. At times he would say to me, I don't really think it's going to work. I think you're wasting your time. And in actual fact, the turnaround came when there was more money coming out of my banking account to support what we were doing. And in actual fact, whatever Skylar needs, I mean, it's not like my husband hasn't got a really good job, but we all know that things have got more expensive. We all know that, especially when you've got a youngster and he's 15, there's more expenses that are coming out of our bank balance and out of our budgets. So he has totally turned around. And I mean, I'll even go as far as saying that he's now cooking at night because I have Zooms at night, and he will literally, I mean, before he'd be irritated or angry that I wasn't actually getting off a Zoom and coming to have dinner, but now he'll just, like, you know, show me the watch and say 5 minutes, you know, dinner's on the table, close the sliding door, because I'm sitting in my braai room, and I know that Andrew has shared his lovely little makeshift little studio time to time. So we all do it because, you know what, this is what we can do. We can fake it till we make it. And I have seen, and he has seen, the value in what I'm doing. And like we've said together, this business for us is our retirement luxuries. We will definitely live a really good life with his retirement, but we won't be able to do all the extra things that we would like to do, like travel, if we don't do this. So he's understood that, and he's realized that huge amounts of time have to be put into this business, and it's made it much more comfortable for both of us. Because he is backing me, and I feel that the energy is better. It's more supportive, which makes me able to do what I'm doing without feeling stressed and, you know, not being able to do it comfortably, which is really what you're supposed to be doing it. And that's the only way that you're going to build it, because you're doing it for so long. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Angie, for waking up at very, very early, and we're seeing the sunrise. And yeah, just thank you to everyone. And I think, you know what, it's been such a great bunch of speakers, because all of you have shared some exceptionally valuable pointers that I'm sure that people are definitely going to be taking home with them and really digesting and absorbing it and really using it for, if they are in network marketing and if they are wanting to build these incredible businesses for themselves. So thank you for joining our Freedom Summit. And yeah, thank you, Andrew. So yeah, everyone out there who has joined us this evening, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone. I'm going to put Andrew's link in the comment section, or he can do so if he can, so that if you do want his book, you'll see his photo there, the way out. If you do want his book, you can definitely get it. I think it's worth its weight in gold. And thank you to all the other speakers. Thank you to the team. Thank you to anyone who'll be watching in the future. It was an incredible evening, and have a lovely one going forward. Thanks so much. Bye.